Greg is here from 100State to present to us. Before we get started, I'd like to thank Field 59, who is here every Wednesday recording our 1MillionCups presentations, which is so awesome of them. And the videos are always up on YouTube after the presentation happens, so if you miss it, you can always catch it by following the 1MillionCups Madison YouTube channel. We'd also like to thank Earthling Interactive, which sponsored our coffee today. And some things to know is that we will be off the next 2 weeks for the holidays, starting back up again on January 6th. And personally, this is my last 1MillionCups as an organizer. I am leaving for personal reasons, but we've got a great team organizing it still. And Shobin actually is joining our team here. And Drew has been unofficial, but is definitely official organizer as well. So, because of the time, I'm going to skip introductions today and turn it over to Greg.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. Sorry I started out a little bit late, but this is going to be a pretty quick presentation. Definitely really want to get a lot of feedback on some of the new things that we're doing at 100State. So my name is Gregory St. Ford. I'm the executive director of 100State. 100State is a co-working community, the largest in the state. A lot of different people who are very passionate about doing awesome things. So we have a community of people who are coders. We have people who are professional service. We have people who do web design, graphic designers, artists, people who do music. It's just a wide range of talent. Just people who want to leverage their talent to help the outer community and make Madison a better place. So here's some just really quick facts. So we have over 230 members now, so we're just still growing as a community. We've been featured on the press 27 times in the last 6 months, so that's pretty awesome. We've been just really doing aggressive marketing, and that's been really awesome. We're seeing results from that. We have a program called 100 Arts. Recently won an MLIS. This year we had 8,000 plus people attend our events. So we do a lot of different events at 100State and in other locations. So we're talking about events for education. So we do a lot of workshops. We've done we've done parties, we've done art events, startup grind, a lot of different things that happen in our space, and we're really happy to just be able to reach out to the community. It's really awesome. We really appreciate the support. And we like to say this is a movement. So the people who are members of 100State, the membership exceeds it goes outside the walls of our space. So people who are 100State members, they tend to represent when they're out in the community, when they're working with clients, when they're whether it's nonprofit organization or scalable startup. When you're a 100State member, it means something. It means that you believe in change, you believe in innovation, you believe in progress. It's just so many different ideas, and we want to continue to build on that. So I want to give a few shout outs to some of our members who just been some awesome things. So one of our members, Joy Tang, who has a startup called Markable. I believe she was presented at a 1MillionCups before, and she was at the first Chinese Shark Tank. So that was pretty awesome. so I was really happy for her and everything that she's doing. So if you ever check out Markable, it's a really awesome startup. Another announcement. We released our own beer, so with one of our members, Mobcraft. So shout out Stout is what it's called. This was really cool because it was a very collaborative project. So we did a brainstorm with a bunch of our members so we could pick the flavor and what's the recipe going to be. Then we worked on a name, which is really cool, part of the brainstorm. Then one of the designers from our 100 Arts program actually designed the label, so which is really cool. 10% of the proceeds gets donated to 100State. So it's a really fun project, and it's good to have beer at the space anyway. So we always appreciate what Mobcraft does. They're literally fueling the entrepreneur communities through beer. So we're really happy having them part of our community. Yep. Yeah, starting tomorrow, I believe. It's going to be available on to buy bottles, and I think a lot of the bars are going to have it on tap. I know Buck and Badger, and a lot of places where you normally find Mobcraft, they'll be there. So it's pretty cool. Another shout out for Kaleem Clare. I think he's closing on his fundraising goal for One City Learning. I think he's at 1.5 million, I believe, at this point. So he's really close. So we just definitely want to support what he's doing. One City Learning is an education system. They're having a building in the South Side and really supporting the youth. So he's been a big part of 100State. He's also a board of advisors, so he's really helped me a lot. So he's one of the people I just sit down and talk to, or just getting advice, and whether it's fundraising or helping the community. Really awesome person. So happy to have him as part of what we do at 100State. And again, shout out to the press. So these are some of the, and this is us with Susan Simmons. She came to 100State. She did great coverage and actually really doing a great job telling this story. Interviewing a few of our members, and then we've been featured in some of these other press companies. So really happy about that. You know, and what's really awesome is not that they just talk about 100State, but they talk about our members. So when we said that we were featured in the press 27 times, that's also our members. And really that's really part of the puzzle, what makes things work, or part of the ecosystem. And here's some of our new partners and sponsors. So, you know, we've had CUNA Mutual's been a new sponsor. I mean, their employees are really engaged in what we do. So they actually at 100State right now. So if you walk into 100State right now, you're going to see 3 CUNA Mutual employees in a brainstorm in one of our conference rooms. So that's like, you know, part of this whole entire ecosystem, keeping us all connected, where you see corporate, nonprofits, and artists and scalable startups in the same space. Cressa is a new sponsor of ours, and they've been really part of our community. They're the reason why we're able to get the space that we have right now. WPS Health Solutions, the new sponsor. So we're working on creating really awesome projects with them. Upstart, their students, Upstart is a program that's providing educational entrepreneurship for minorities and women and so forth. And basically they have what we call as a startup table in our space. So basically they're able to have 5 students at a time come in our space and just be exposed to the entrepreneur community. So think of that as you're learning to be an entrepreneur, you're being exposed to the corporate scalable startups that are doing really well, the press, and so forth. So we really want to be really aggressive, and we have the similar partnership with Madison College, where they have a rotating membership with a lot of their students. And we just really did a partnership with Madison 365. So this is part of our efforts for our diversity initiatives. So what we're doing is a lot of our members who are people of color, they have a direct channel to be exposed in the press through Madison 365. So it's been a great partnership. And also they actually work out of our space now as well. So you might see David Dahmer or Henry Saunders actually sitting in our space and maybe writing up the next article that they're going to release. So we're really awesome part of our ecosystem. And it makes us really unique. Just going to talk about the event we did a couple weeks ago, 100 Thanks. It was our annual event, and we were really happy about the turnout. It was a lot of members involved in this project, in this event. It was really fun. I mean, we had people from all sectors, people of all backgrounds. This picture is a partner of ours. So this is Mad Ventures Co-working. So this is a co-working space that's on the UW campus. So Christian and Claudia, they're part of the lead team for that, and they're also part-time employees at 100State. And it's really awesome just to say that we're able to extend to the campus and have a really direct connection with the students. So we've always had connections with UW on an executive and administrative level, but now really directed to the students, and they're able to get exposure. So what we've done with Mad Ventures Co-working is their members have the same access to our space as our normal members. So if they're looking for mentorship, they can actually plug in directly. And because of the overlap in staff, it made it a little bit easier and more manageable. So Christian and Claudia, if they want to talk to Willie from Export Abroad or talk to Nico from Redox, then we have a liaison, and they could just actually make that connection, because we want to really complete this ecosystem, so it doesn't seem like, you know, the campus is so far from the square anymore. We made it a little bit tighter, and we're really excited about continuing building that relationship. And they have 40+ members, and they're one of only 5 co-working spaces in college. That's student organizations. So pretty awesome. Here's just another photo of what 100 Thanks, and this is Todd from 5 Nines, and he helped introduce the event, so we're really happy to have him as a sponsor and big support of what we're doing. And it's just this picture. We had a lot of different people networking. It was really awesome. People of all backgrounds. It was really connecting. We had some tabling done during the first hour, so people was able to show off some of the products and services that they do. It gave people a tangible experience of 100State, because sometimes that's missing. So people think it's just a bunch of technology startups, but we wanted to have like, hey, here's some people that's in fashion. Here's what they create. And I think it was really awesome for us to showcase that. And then we had an after party. So what's big about 100State is we like to have a really, really great time. So we had a big after party at our space. So we went from Momoka for the keynote. Then afterwards, a lot of us went to the after party. What was really awesome was some people just went straight to the after party. So I know by the time I got there was already 150, 200 people there. So it was really cool. We figured that however you want to celebrate in the entrepreneur community, whether listen to a keynote or partying, that's all acceptable for us. And we had a really great time. I mean, I don't know what time we ended, but it was really great. It's something that we love to do. Is just, hey, we're very serious in what we do. People, what they do with their startups is like they take it very seriously, right? This is their life. But, you know, life is about having 100 state of mind and just enjoying what you're doing, enjoying the people that you're around, because these connections can last a lifetime. What was really awesome was 3 days later after 100 Thanks, we had a Cap Times talk. So, you know, Cap Times is one of our partners, and we had a panel just discussing on what we could do better in the entrepreneur community in Madison. So we had, you know, the Doyen group, we had Kevin Little from the Greater Chamber of Commerce, we had a couple people from the city, Maurice Cheeks, we had Troy from Generator, and we had Eric from Each Street. So we had like a really a wide perspective on what the entrepreneur community looks like, what we can do better. It's really awesome just having the Cap Times work with us on these type of events. We plan to do events like this on a quarterly basis. We'll focus on specific things that, hey, we need to talk about this, and how can we work together to bring the right people to, I guess, bring these discussions to the table, right? So it was really awesome, and I mean, it was a lot of work to do that in a short span of time. So in a 3-day period, we had 2 different events with kind of 2 different demographics and about 700 plus people. So, you know, we really work hard. We have a lot of our members who are part of making this happen. Here's some the other things we announced was we're creating this platform 100 Live with Phil 59, who's streaming right now, and sponsored by 5 Nines. The goal for 100 Live is to create not just live stream content, but curate a lot of different videos so that we can expose Madison's entrepreneurs. So there's a lot of people who do not, like myself, so coming from New York, I had no idea what the Madison entrepreneur community looked like, what the creative community looks like. So we figured, well, how can we just showcase a lot more and utilize a partner or a member of 100State to kind of help lead this. So what we're going to start doing even more aggressively, the first is just stream a lot of videos. So the 100 Thanks was the first one. And it was really awesome because I was getting text messages like, hey, I'm watching this live right now on 100 Live. Then the Cap Times talk was another one. So we had maybe 200 people attend the event at our space, but there was a significant amount of people that was just watching it live. We had limited seating anyway. So we wanted people to be involved in the conversation. So people were tweeting about it and so forth, similar to what happens to 1 Million Cups right now. But the other layer to it is just the curating videos. So we are working with a lot of our sponsors like Zendesk and Widen to kind of curate some of the videos that they do, because they're experts in their own fields, whether it's customer service or marketing technology, or some of them have their own community initiatives that they do, and we want to kind of curate that experience amongst our members, partners, other big entities, and even smaller entities in Madison, and how can we showcase that collectively to the rest of the world, essentially. And then we also want to provide education through this platform. So we want to have, hey, I can't attend this workshop, but here's a video about, hey, how do you start out a business plan, or how do you, or some of the tough conversations, like how do you talk to investors, or hey, my startup failed miserably, what do I do next? So we want to actually have video content where people are actually sharing these stories and educating people, and we think that we can do a great job on that. Our goal is actually to get this content distributed like high level, so we're not doing it just to hey, it's fun. We want to actually really see how we can expand our distribution. So sometime next year it's going to be available on the Roku, so really expect that, and other digital devices. So we have a few members that are really awesome in technology and marketing, so it's the opportunity is right in front of us. So it's just a collective community effort to make this come to light. So this is what it looks like right now on the website. We're going to keep building out on it and, improving the design. And, Field 59 does a great job with just actually make sure the content is delivered so you can view it on mobile devices. I mean, people are going to be able to download. We're going to start doing more aggressive stat tracking on it. Here's just some videos. So what we did was we broke down a lot of the clips from 100 Thanks so people can actually view specific segments. So it's very powerful to have something like this, a lot of sharing tools and so forth. So we're just going to, start little by little, just start delivering the content to people, exposing it a lot more. But we're happy about what we have right now. One of the other things we did announce was a new membership site for brick and mortar businesses. We call it the Small Business Membership. We figured it'd be really awesome. So we had small business owners or people who have brick and mortar businesses. I mean, they're entrepreneurs, just a different type, right? So they're just dependent on a physical location, like instead of a tech startup where you need a laptop and a Wi-Fi connection. However, the mindset is there, right? So a lot of these people want to change the community. They're passionate about what they're doing. So it's like, why can't we just be more effective at including them into what we're doing as a community? So we wanted to offer a different membership type where the price point is a little bit less because we know they'll use the physical space a lot less than normal members, but they would participate in brainstorms and events in the same way that our normal members do. So Matt Brueggemann, who runs Flux Mopeds, and this is actually him at an event at 100State, but he actually brought the moped at 100State, which was really cool. And we wanted to see more of that. And he was like kind of the pilot of that, right? We were just kind of saying, well, here's how he's benefiting from using this space. He comes to events, he brainstorms, he works with the Mad Ventures students and tests out his product at the UW. So he's been leveraging a lot of the channels that he normally would not have if he was not a member. So we want to replicate that, kind of put it in a box and see how can we deliver that to other small businesses. So we're testing it out. We're expecting to do like a big brainstorm for a lot of small business owners in January, just so we can actually like, hey, here's some things we could probably do and add on or not do. If we have a dedicated newsletter, should that look like? If we have dedicated events, who should be there? Do they want to talk more to professional service people, or they want to talk to web designers because they want to improve their websites? So we want to kind of see what does that look like, and how we accomplish everything is normally through a brainstorm. So it's always through discussion. So we just wanted to have, here's some things we're probably going to use, but the brainstorm is going to actually kind of define that a lot more. And also, we want to figure out, well, how can these businesses also give back? So all our members believe in giving back, whether it's through brainstorming with different nonprofit organizations, volunteer work. So we want to figure out, well, how we act in one accord and essentially work together with these businesses, and how do we, I guess, go through all our initiatives, whether it's through the arts, whether it's diversity initiatives. How can we all kind of play a part in that role? Because I mean, these businesses are all over town. Whether it's restaurants, bars, fitness centers, and so forth. So that's a big initiative. We're really excited about this. We already started talking to a lot of businesses who they want to plug in, see what they can do, and we really just want to complete this ecosystem where we have a lot of the students, we have the corporate side, we have the press, we have the tech startups, we have the artists, and now we want to have the brick and mortars and really just keep going. Thank you. That was just I guess kind of a quick run through. We're really happy about what we're doing so far. I definitely would appreciate any feedback that you can give on what we're doing. I know it's always good to say, hey, what can everyone do to help? One thing you could help is any referral for anyone who does any video content, because we want to see who can help out in creating that experience. And two, any brick and mortar business you think would benefit from being with our community, just kind of sending them our way, like either directly to me or on our website, and we just want to have a discussion and say, hey, how can we help them and how can they help the rest of the community. Cool.
Awesome. Thanks, Greg. We're going to open it up to questions, so just raise your hand and I'll bring the mic over. And just note that you won't be amplified. It's just for the live stream. So questions, anyone about 100State?
Are you getting too big for your current space already?
We're getting close to that. So we are looking at like what the end of 2016 will look like. So we figured by early summer or late spring, we're going to be at 300 members. So we are positioning, okay, what do we do in the fourth quarter when, hey, we can't use our space or we outgrew our space? So we are planning for that. I mean, Cressa, which is one of our sponsors, they're really already actually looking, and we're in really conversation where we need to be financially. I mean, we want to plan it, to the best of our ability. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but I mean, we're like, startup life, so we're going to figure something out.
Questions?
Thanks, Greg. I just wondered what the long-term vision looks like. If growth is so big right now, where do you see 100State in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years?
That's a great question. So right now, our focus right now is, hey, how do we connect a lot of people and connect those people to make Madison a lot better? And then from there, how do we connect a lot of people to make the state of Wisconsin better? Then from there, how do we make the country look better? So I mean, sky's the limit with our model, because it's not necessarily just physical space; it's just membership as a whole, and how do we cultivate that like exponentially? So like that is the goal. So I can say a whole bunch of numbers, right? And in year 2, like 300, year 3, 400, like, we can say a whole bunch of things like that, but it's more about the impact, right? We want to make sure that we have people that are causing impact, whether it's education, just people feeling like they could follow their passion, and like that's a reality. Like, you could go to school, you could do this, but the goal is, hey, are you doing what you really want to do? And that's what people who are 100State members know, right? Like, we want people to create the same way when someone goes to Harvard, it says something about them, you just assume something about them. And we want to be able to say the same thing about 100State members. Because you're a 100State member, it means XYZ. And we want to kind of continue that mission and just kind of grow it as far as we can, and just keep having new initiatives. I mean, initiatives grow as the members grow, because each member is a part of this ecosystem where each member has its own demand. Like, I want the world to be better because I believe in this, and then we work together to see, hey, how does that work with the rest of the community, and let's start doing it.
I'm running a startup, and I currently have a membership over at Sector 67, and I have a desk over there as well. What would a membership at 100State be, and what would be some of sort of the main benefits of joining your community as well?
Okay, so our membership fees right now starts at $75 a month. So the big benefit definitely is the network. So we have a very strong network, very strong ecosystem. So when people attend our members only meetings, like, it really looks like, here's some corporate, here's some artists, here's some nonprofits, here's some of the people maybe from the government, you never know. So that's a big part of the value add. I mean, of course, the physical space, but I mean, the connection is probably everything, right? So you could go anywhere to get internet access. You could get a desk, you go to the library, I mean, honestly, but it's not necessarily a community. So the access to this community, and the value add can increase, it gets better as more members are plugged in, because it changes who you can connect with. So that's how that looks like.
What are the biggest challenges or obstacles facing 100State right now, and how do you think you'd overcome them?
I guess a big obstacle is, I guess is a good problem to have, is how do you keep as more perspectives join in, and how do you maintain everyone's voice in our membership being heard? Because we're membership driven, so like, we're not like sponsor driven, like, we're membership driven. So we want to make sure everyone's voice is heard in terms of, hey, I believe in this, or we should do that, and so forth. It's almost like having shareholders, essentially. So the challenge is keeping everyone happy, but still, we're not gonna make everyone happy, but just keeping it sustainable in that way. And I think that's like a big challenge, because everyone has different backgrounds, so that helps us, and sometimes that's the challenge at the same time, because everyone just perceives the same scenario from a different lens. But our town hall meetings and some of our internal communication helps with that. And the idea that with our staff, we try to be physically in the space as much as possible. So if someone has a complaint or something that they think we should do better, or whatever the case may be, then they can find us.
Other questions? Well, I'm walking over. Is there going to be a more formal relationship between 100State and Mad Ventures?
Yeah, but the goal is, so the idea is we wanted to because 100State doesn't own Mad Ventures, so we didn't want to feel like we're adult supervision. Like, they're their own thing, and we're partners, as opposed to, because it is what it is. Like the UW has some of the most talented people in the world, right? So like some of them may have this multi-million-dollar startup. I mean, East Street came out of UW, so we didn't want to feel like there's like this kind of ranking. Like we want to say, well, our mission is to cultivate what they're doing. So the partnership is going to be pretty organic. Some stuff we're going to see if we can systemize. Like what we did do is their executive team once a month meets with our executive team, so we kind of be on the same page of what's happening and what resources overlap. So that's part of it, but we want to keep it just like more aligned as opposed to a hierarchy.
I forgot my question. Oh yeah, can you talk about some of the key takeaways from the Cap Times talk?
There's a few. Creating an inclusive entrepreneur community was a big part of the conversation. So whether it's gender or ethnic background and so forth. So a lot of discussion was how do we improve that. I'm always going to say if you want to improve that, you join 100State. But that was like a big thing that people really want to, there's a big not really a back and forth, but a big part of the conversation. Some other points were doing a better job with connecting with Milwaukee. Because sometimes we perceive Milwaukee as like, oh, I'm going out of town, I'm in Milwaukee. It's like, it's really not that, it's not far away. And so why are we not connecting with Milwaukee and leveraging each other's resources and assets? Because it's completely two different cities, but I mean, there are overlaps and some of the missions and what we want are the same. So that was a big discussion. I know Troy with Generator, because they have Generator with Milwaukee, and like, his experience is like similar, like he's in both places, but he's like, well, we're in both places, but the connection is not there yet. So those are two ones I know for me that I took away where, part of what we do at 100State is very like, okay, we can actually play a role in that in some capacity.
How do people who aren't necessarily startup people or entrepreneurs, but maybe like professional service providers, like accountants or lawyers, how do they interact with the 100State community?
Great question from a professional service guy. So what we feel has been the best way has been like events. So just kind of increasing opportunities for education. So we know with like startups and entrepreneurs or anyone who's just starting, like you have to know something to ask the right question, or any question actually. So that's proof of what you know is what the questions you ask. And if there's more education being done, when they meet like a Nider Boucher, they can say, oh, I didn't know I'm supposed to have this type of paperwork, or I didn't know I'm supposed to do my taxes. Like, you'd be surprised the type of problems that people have when they're starting. So more education. I know one of the events that you were a part of, which was really awesome, we did we called it Arts Enterprise. And we had just a panel of artists and lawyers, and it was just a discussion on things that sometimes artists don't think about. Is, hey, licensing, like, this is an opportunity for money, but how do you actually put that on paper? Protecting your art, protecting yourself. I mean, I know from an accounting standpoint, I'm pretty sure if you went through all the 100State members, there's problems across the board where people are just not managing it, budgeting their money. Sometimes people don't know when they can talk to the professional service, at what stage of their startup should they do it, who should they talk to, is it because of the brand of this professional service, or is the relationship that you have with them? I mean, it just needs to have more discussion, so we want to improve on that. I mean, that's kind of part of the education piece. We figure if we provide more education, people will align themselves with the right professional service provider.
Awesome, thanks. Any other questions before we wrap up? All right.
Greg, one of the questions is, when it comes to a startup or entrepreneurship, many times one of the big things you have to face is, okay, we need to do some fundraising, we need maybe to connect with Angels Network or something like that. Does 100State provide any kind of support in these entrepreneurships and startups?
Yeah, so it's very organic, right? So like people from the Wisconsin Angel Network or WIN, sometimes we have them at our space. They'll do talks at our members only meetings. So we try to create a direct connection. But what we try not to do is, overpromise. So we don't put our position where if anybody asks me, hey, can you connect with this person? We can't do that every single time, right? There's almost 230 members. However, we try to provide enough platforms where, hey, that person might be working out of our space, or our members only meeting where these people may present or talk or just say hello. If anyone wants to talk to me, take a card and so forth. And just some of the other events that we do, a lot of the partnerships and so forth. So his idea with people who are members of 100State, you make the most of the membership. So any and everything that's entrepreneur in Madison, literally everything we are connected to. It's just that how are you willing to go get it? So we kind of create that challenge for our members, whereas some people, they're going to be more aggressive than others, but the opportunity is there, as we already have enough proof of concept where people have, hey, I just started, and look, now I'm at the White House demo day. That's a real story.
All right, well, if there aren't any other questions, thank you so much to Greg and 100State for everything you do. Thank you to Sarah for all of your contributions to 1MillionCups and for the batch bakery goodies. Please come up and eat them. We always have this problem where people bring delicious food, no one eats it. I don't know if it's like a self-consciousness thing, like we're in this clean space, but
I'll start.
I don't know. Come on over, eat, drink coffee, and thank you so much to Field 59, Earthling Interactive, and the Kauffman Foundation. Have a great day.